Welcome back to Doing Bar Things, and in this decidedly low rent production, we're going to talk more about stuff that's decidedly not low rent. Video cards are ridiculous, and the saga continues. We've got the release of the RTX 5000 series. I decided to do this video because more has sort of become available, like they had the launch, and I don't get a card, obviously. I'm just a dude making videos, so I didn't get a card to like check out or review or do anything like that. So I usually wait for the reviews to come out, for people to maybe kind of do some talking about it, look at some data, and then sort of try to guide or deliver some advice, something, potentially, folks, hopefully that maybe you'll find useful. I've sort of put good and bad and ugly on this, and I'm telling you, it's not looking pretty. So the 5000 series has debuted and gone out for sale. The only good things really that I will say about this launch for now, the Founders Edition cooler is pretty cool. You can see where Nvidia did a pretty neat thing that allows the fans to blow all the way through that card, which helps cooling, and it keeps that card at more of a 2-slot cooler, which I think is interesting. That's something we haven't really seen before. It's a very straightforward idea, but nobody's implemented that I'm aware of the same way, so it's kind of neat, and I want to give a kudo for that, for sure. Could be good in a small form factor machine, definitely. Pricing for MSRP Founders Edition cards some are lower than last gen. That's about all I can say, but we'll get into why maybe that's a little bit misleading here in a sec. And there was talk about releasing some of the software onto older cards, which I think is fantastic, and they should absolutely do that. I think that would go a long way towards building a little bit more goodwill. And that's it. Like, that's all I got really good to say about it. What's the bad news? Well, you can't buy one. If we go here and look at the stock, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Guys, this might be the most paper launch we've gotten. There's just no cards. It's not that these are selling out immediately. There's no cards being delivered. There were a handful of 5090s to some places. There's maybe a couple dozen 5080s to some places, and that's it. It's not, this is like a paper launch, okay? We're not going to get cards for a while. Maybe we get some of the lower end ones more quickly when they do launch, probably here in February. But realistically, maybe not until March. Like, it's just not what you think it is. I thought they had stock and supply and they could release even early. Maybe I was wrong. So we're not getting cards. That's basically how that's working out. Great. If you do get a card, you will have had to overpay for it because Nvidia is charging so much to the AIBs, getting close to this retail price. You're not going to see the retail prices from AIBs. You're just not going to see it. You can clearly see here $1,230 for a 5080. MSRP is supposed to be $1,000. You're not going to see it. This is another crappy thing from Nvidia. I'm sorry that the AIBs have to deal with this. Apparently, that's what I've heard. Like, here you got $1,500 for a 5080. I mean, come on, man. It's not really a $1,000 card in that case. What else is bad? The performance is not really lining up. The 5080 is barely faster than a 4080 Super. Okay? I'm going to show you a graph here in a second to give you an idea of where AMD may fit into this equation. But it's not looking good. I don't think Nvidia really delivered what they said they were going to deliver. Throw out that marketing out the window right now for the 5070 being as fast as a 4090. That is complete horse crap. I'm almost wondering if somebody wants to is going to sue them over that. I mean, it's so misleading. When you turn on certain settings that frame generation will turn on, and you don't process those frames from the game engine, but from the video card, frame rate you can throw that out the window. It's not a great measuring stick of actual performance. It's, it's kind of like 1,000 horsepower car going at 60 miles an hour will get outrun by a car if it does 65 miles an hour eventually, if that's what they're allowed to do, basically. Like it's really misleading. It's super misleading. I hated that marketing period. That's a huge, big, ugly thing. So what does it mean, right? Like, what are we kind of getting to here? Nvidia is covering up that these cards are actually kind of overpriced for what they do. They released a MSRP that only they can meet because they're the manufacturers of the chip. Performance is not as good as we thought it would be. You can't buy them. They're out of stock. It's really a bad launch. Any sort of good mind share they had, they've just destroyed again. The 5080 should be the 5070, and the 5080 itself should be a cut down 5090, not this other direction, which is kind of why the 5080 is underperforming. What I'm going to show you, I have a chart that is suspected 9070 XT performance, but before I show it to you, I want to make sure you understand this is napkin math. This is not the real thing, okay? This is guesstimate. So, the 5080 gets killed by the 4090, all right? I thought the 5080 would be closer to the 4090. If the 5080 was a cut down 5090 core, like they should be, it would approach the 4090, and this graph that you see would be so much different. So much different. But Nvidia went that route. They're going to charge a crap ton of money for what essentially would be a 5070 Ti die or 5070, like they did in the 4000 series. And AMD may have something to make them pay a little bit. The 9070 XT could be within very low double digits, so like 10 to 15% slower than a 5080. It could be. Napkin math, again, speculation, super grain of salt here, possibly. But it's possible. The fact that that's possible because AMD overplayed what they thought Nvidia was going to do with Blackwell because they talked Blackwell up so much is hilarious. And ultimately, I'm hoping that this is true because then we will win, right? Because we'll buy our AMD cards and say, well, okay, cool, AMD, you'll get your market share. But only if AMD charges the right price for this. They know what the MSRP for these are, right? These lower-end cards. And they should not exceed a 5070 Ti, period, end of discussion. What they should do is they should charge about $699 for the top-end 9070 XT here. If this is true, crush the 5070 Ti into the dirt, charge less money for it, and then this will be the card that basically, if you're not buying a 5090, people will kind of go maybe buy this. That'll be it. Like, that'll be kind of the discussion. And there's way more people that are going to buy this than will buy a 5090 for 3 times the price or whatever it is, right? That's where the discussion should be. If AMD charges too much for this 9070 XT, then people will start like, well, whatever, and they'll buy the 5080 or they'll buy the 5070 Ti and kind of go on about their business. But AMD has a shot here, and I can't believe I'm saying that because I really thought they screwed up royally with how they've segmented this stuff. So it's really shocking to me how this is going to turn out, and so I don't know where we're going to be. Like, it's just silly. But I guess I guess we're all going to wait and see because there's no cards to buy anyway. That's what's messed up about it. I mean, if Nvidia actually had stock, they could have gotten a bunch of 5080s out the door, some 5090s. You know, people line up to buy them because it's all the early adopters, right? Could have gotten some stock out the door, but they don't have any cards. So I don't know why they bothered launching them this way. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy. So, what are the recommendations? What did we learn? Number one, if you can wait, I would wait. I wouldn't buy now. I'm tired of saying that. I started saying that, I think, in December. I'll reiterate it again. You know, we've had to make this statement longer than what I thought. But I would wait. I would let the 9070 XT come out. I would let the lower end 5000 series cards come out. Let all that stuff work itself out with the scalpers and supply before you go looking for money. It could save you literally hundreds of dollars. Okay? That's what I would do. The next recommendation is, if this is correct, if AMD's cards release and AMD is stuck charging $700, $650 for a 9070 XT that performs like what we're seeing on this graph, we have to consider that, right? We should. I'm not saying you run out and you buy one. Please, everybody, take this as buy what will suit your needs, okay? Because none of these companies are good, all right? AMD sucks, Nvidia sucks. Like, they don't care about you, all right? I used to really be like an AMD kind of fanboy way back when I was a little younger. But AMD has done, you know, their marketing just sucks, right? I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but like this whole thing reeks like of just, we're going to hold out and we're going to do all this stuff like to try and get one up on Nvidia, when it's like, you know, you're getting one up on yourself. You should have just picked a price. You should have said, we can make money at this price. We think it's a fair price. And you should have gone out there and said, we think this is a fair price. We're going to charge this for our video card. And done it. You should have announced it at CES. You should have said, we've got cards in store. It's going to be available here. And been done with it. You know, and lived with whatever decision that was. You should have charged $600, $700, whatever it was, and just ignored what Nvidia was doing, and that would have looked really good, right? Nvidia would have walked out on the stage and been like, right. Anyway, so we're going to release our stuff, and they were going to have the same presentation no matter what you did with your price, okay? Nvidia was not going to change their presentation based upon you. Why should you change your stuff based upon them? It was really a bad CES. It was a bad look for their video card department to not just walk out there and boldly do that. Or they should have said, we're not ready to announce anything. And they should have. But see, they couldn't, because the plan was to do that. And they should have stuck to their guns, I think. But even having said all that, there is a possibility that this card releases. It may be the best deal in town. It may not be. But it remains to be seen. If it's like this chart, then we should all at least take a look at it. So that's it, guys. That's a video. Sorry for not having better news. Maybe someday. You know what? We'll go talk about CPUs or something maybe in the next video. Computer cases, a build, fans, something to get off of video cards, because I'm just kind of getting sick of talking about it, but that's just what's popping off in this weird, wild world where we don't have the new cards that we can buy from Nvidia. We don't have the new cards we can buy from AMD. We've got some older cards from AMD that we can buy, but we can't even buy the older cards from Nvidia because they're all out of stock and overpriced. And the new cards are out of stock and overpriced from Nvidia. So just in a weird spot. Anyway, guys, leave a like and subscribe if you would. Maybe shout out something in the comments, and we'll see if we can respond. But other than that, I want you guys to enjoy and have a great weekend, and we'll be talking to you in the next one.